Tell the truth. Was Carlton Banks back in the day snorting Xanax?
No, that's a different show. That's a different take entirely.
No, I like how they made your character the influencer, the social media. I mean, it
Isn't that where
seems.
she'd be?
I,
Isn't that where she'd be? It's funny because I've been interviewed over the years, and people say, "Where would Hillary Banks be today?" And I always say, "She'd be ruling the internet." Are you kidding? Instagram. She'd be ruling Instagram. So when the show came out, I was like,
Hey everybody, this is Mike from Real Black, and we have the honor and privilege of being today with Miss Karyn Parsons. Ms. Karyn Parsons. Welcome to Real Black
"Hi, thank you, thank you. It's good to be here."
and the book fair. So, wow, I mean, I'm sure everyone watching knows you as an actress, but how many know that you're an accomplished author?
I'm here at the 30th annual African American Children's Book Festival, book fair, and it's really incredible all that's going on out here. Huge crowd, and I'm really happy to be here with my books, Saving the Day, Flying Free, Saving the Day, which is a story of Garrett Morgan, the inventor of the traffic signal, Flying Free, about Bessie Coleman, the first black female aviator, and How High the Moon, which is my historical fiction first novel.
Wow. So when did all this happen? That's what I want to know.
When you weren't looking.
Talk to me.
Gosh, when did it all happen? Well, I guess, after The Fresh Prince ended, I started writing a lot. I got into a writing course and just spent all that time I had spent for 6 years doing that. I think it all just went into writing for a long time. But, that was just me just writing. A few years later, when I became pregnant with my daughter, my first child, I started thinking a lot about what my responsibility as a parent was going to be, educating her, supplementing her education. And my mother, who was a librarian, had told me the story of Henry Box Brown, the enslaved man who mailed himself to freedom in a box. She had told me that story. She came across it at the library she worked at, and it really struck me that it was an amazing story, but also it was almost equally amazing to me is that I hadn't heard it. No one I knew had heard this story, and it seemed crazy. And so it made me want to create a line of books for kids about real people in history that we don't hear about. And it would take me years, not until I was pregnant with my daughter, that I started thinking about her education, that I started realizing the importance of getting these books out there. And I started off with making short animated films, and eventually, finally, have led to making the picture books of them. And that came after I wrote my first novel, How High the Moon, and Little Brown got the book, and then shortly afterwards said, we want to make some books out of the Sweet Blackberry series about these real people in history. And it's my nonprofit organization, Sweet Blackberry, that I produced the films from.
Wow. So it just seems it's so self-initiated, this whole dream.
Well, I started those stories out, yes, through Sweet Blackberry. I just started making them just because I wasn't thinking too far in advance, which was probably a really good thing, because if I had, I probably wouldn't have done it. It would have been too daunting. But I just wanted to get the stories out of the kids. So I just started writing them and producing them and finding people that could help collaborate with me. And my first one, I was really fortunate. I had Alfre Woodard come on board to do the narration. And then I was lucky enough to have Queen Latifah come on, and Chris Rock, and Lawrence Fishburne, and people that I had known over the years, and they were very supportive of what I was trying to do. And so, I was just kind of producing them on my own. And then once my novel was published, and then Little Brown came on to help out, I was able to make them into books, which is what I had always wanted.
Right. So what about Bessie Coleman attracts you to the story? Because I know for decades, Julie Dash is a friend of the show, and that was one of the things that she wanted to do decades ago, to do a Bessie Coleman story.
Yeah, Bessie Coleman is one of those people. I didn't learn about Bessie Coleman until I was an adult, and I was in a play, and I played her. She wasn't the main character in the story. She was someone who came to the main character in her dreams, and it was another one of those things I just had never been taught. I didn't know anything about her, and I found her fascinating. And so years later, when I started researching and learning more about her, and then went on to write the book, or the film at the time, I ended up putting her picture on my desktop and keeping it there because she is such an inspiration. You know, you look at this young woman in 1920 who's just so the guts and the determination and like you can't tell me attitude of this Black Cherokee woman, because no one would teach her how to fly. You know, nobody in the U.S. would teach this woman how to fly, and flying was so new that just wanting to do that unto itself was kind of like, you know, who's this woman who's insisting on flying? We don't know that much about it yet. But on top of it, she wouldn't be told no, and she went so far as to get sponsorship and take a boat over to France and where they would teach her how to fly. And then she came back, of course, a hero, you know, because she had done this. And then she used her platform to try to help other Black people in all other areas of life. And I think that we don't know a lot about her. We don't know a lot about that or her activism. And so I wanted to plant those seeds in little people's heads.
No, I just learned a lot just now myself. I thought I knew a little bit about Bessie Coleman, but now I got to get.
Well, you know, she got her pilot's license before Amelia Earhart, and we know, you know, everybody knows about Amelia Earhart, and we don't know about this woman who encountered so many obstacles, and you know, it's like I said, it was a time that flying was new, and this is a Black woman,
right,
who wanted to do this thing. I just find her remarkable. I think if she were alive today, she'd be all over, you know, Instagram. People would be frightened just sending stories about her.
Go Bessie, go. So I mean, yeah. Well, let's speak to that. I mean, I talked to some other authors, and I say books are magic.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, empowering people through these stories, it's become your responsibility, your mission, it seems.
Yeah, I think that well, I mean, I was fortunate. I grew up in libraries. My mother was being a librarian, so I spent an only child. I spent a lot of time in the library, and books definitely took me away. And I was fortunate enough to be exposed to a lot, but in school they still didn't teach you about a lot of stories that I think were really important for us to know about. And if I can bring books into a child's world, as well as teach them about these people who came before. And it's all children. I mean, we do want representation. We do need to see ourselves. But I think what's really important also are that these are stories of really great people in American history that did great things in American history that everyone should know about. And so I think that's important too, is that we all know these stories and we recognize that these advances and these accomplishments and contributions of people to this country.
What are some of your fond memories of being Hillary?
Oh gosh. Well, as an actor, I'll say on the show, it was so fun. I had such a great cast. It was like, you know, we were tight. We were tight from the first week we met each other. We just were immediately bonded, immediately clicked, and it's like playing, you know, music or sports or something with somebody else when you do it well together, and you toss and they catch and they throw, and you know, and it's like that was our whole rhythm. And I think people can see that and feel that when they watch the show, but that's how it felt for us too. And it's so much fun when you're operating that way. We've got great writers, we've got great costume designer, got great director and actors and everybody together, and it just was something really special.
Do you think it would be a show, when you were making the show, did you think it would be the kind of show that literally as we're speaking now, somebody's watching an episode?
Isn't that crazy? Across the world? No, I didn't, I couldn't have anticipated that. It felt so intimate, you know, we were there on a stage we had a live audience, but it was just, I felt like it was like a theater performance. It was us and that audience, and then I felt like we just did a play and we were done. You know, next week we'll do another one, you know. It didn't feel like this is going to be stored and go out into millions of homes for decades across the world. That was, and it's still hard sometimes to wrap my head around.
I love it. So where can people find the books and where can people find you? You
can find these books just all over the place, but you can go to sweetblackberry.org, which is my nonprofit, and learn a little bit about Sweet Blackberry and what we're doing there. And you can find the books. You can also go to Karyn, Karyn -Parsons, PARSONS.com to see everything that I'm doing, whether it's authoring or acting or appearing someplace, doing presentations, etc. Yeah, all my stuff's there. Hi, I'm Karyn Parsons, and you're watching Real Black.